Hello, this is Uncle Jim, and I think it's about time I jumped into the powder coat protection game, or let's call it PPP, the powder coat protection plan, where some gunpowders have a tendency to soften or eat powder coat at the base of the bullet when they are stored upside down. Okay, so Broke Loader, Walter Bunning, and others have been doing tests on this, and I thought I'd jump in here because recently Broke Loader did a follow-up, and he was trying aluminum foil at the base of the bullets, which works. And so I mentioned to him, why don't you try some high-heat barbecue paint, or better yet, lacquer. And high heat barbecue paint is an enamel product. It might have the same tendency as powder coat, but lacquer is a different animal, and it comes from the beetle. And who doesn't like the beetles? All right. Anyway, lacquer being a different animal where paint thinner won't affect it, acetone, you got to use lacquer thinner. So why not try that to defend against certain powders that can soften your powder coat? One of them is tight group. Another one is bullseye. Some people had different results with the bullseye, but better safe than sorry. I'm really bummed because I do like tight group for some things, so I usually load them right before I'm going to shoot them. You can store them right side up, but that's kind of a pain. I do everything the same. A lot of times they just go into bins, sideways, whatever. So I'm just taking a guess here. I'm thinking lacquer. I love lacquer. I've used it for years and years. I've probably shot thousands of gallons of lacquer over my lifetime. So we'll try lacquer. Now the problem is, the only lacquer can I could find in the house, I broke the nozzle on it, so I had to use a regular paint spray nozzle. We'll see how that works. Doesn't really matter if it's clear, flat, or semi-gloss. It's just going to have more flattener pigments in it. All right, so I picked out some long bullets where I can pull easier. And I figured just to spray the base of the bullet, take an old ammo tray, stick them in there, and that way you don't get overspray on the sides. Okay, like that. Another thing is, these were stood up so they have less powder coat, so you don't have that real thick layer like you would in the basket. And so we're gonna check and see if we can soften this mild coating on here at the base. I'm going to do one per month. So we'll do 5 months, and I'll start with 1 month, loaded upside down, and we'll see what happens. So I'll go out and spray these, and we're just going to get it on the base of the bullets. I'll give it 2 light coats. I love lacquer because it dries fast. You know, if you're doing woodwork or whatever, you can sand it pretty quickly and give it several coats and get it done in 1 day. I just love lacquer for that. All right, so we're going to use a tight group in a 38 shell, and I'll put them upside down. After the lacquer, I'm going to let the lacquer cure overnight. It really doesn't need to. But if you do it this way, you can load up some old trays and spray a whole bunch of them, or just set them up on end if they're flat points. If they're ball, you might want to do this. All right, I think after that, let's talk about the prairie dog, because Broke Loader, he's actually Broke Loader 2 now. Because he had his channel deleted like I did. We lost all our friends and our subs, and we have to start over, but we don't quit. That's what I love about Broke Loader. So we'll go talk about the prairie dog, because he's driving me crazy how he's using the prairie dog. All right. All right, so this is a mix of Ford Light Blue and Aqua. And this is like a gloss All right, it's a nice hot sunny day. I'll come back and give it one more light coat in 5 minutes. Okay, while those are drying, let's talk about the prairie dog. I came up with a bullet puller for lead bullets. I have a call it RCBS puller when I want to save bullets, but lead bullets are slippery and you pretty much are just going to remelt them down. So came up with the prairie dog, and the reason is some presses don't go all the way to the top. Like say you have a 9mm, this is a 44, so you can't grab it. So first I came up with my prototype here, which has a magnet, and it's nice and solid, and you just put your bullet in there, all right, and then you can use your cutters, whatever, and pull it down. Then I thought, well, that's kind of complicated. Just go out and buy a coupler for 25 cents or whatever, PVC, and use that. Boom, easy. However, a lot of presses have a casting mark right down the middle, and it's all wobbly. And this is kind of what's driving me nuts about Broke-Loader. So what you want to do is just take a file or whatever, file sander, whatever, just take off the middle there so it doesn't hit the casting marks and it sits flush like this one. Okay, this one's overcomplicated, but I think Mario likes this one because of the magnet I stuck on there. All right, so the other thing that's bugging me is go out and get a wire. Somebody told, this was an older video when I made this, somebody told me get one of these, the wire strippers, because it does work really good. You got your little cutter piece there. You can hone out the middle hole here, which I did. And he's been using some tip wire cutters, and between that and the wobbly thing, it's driving me nuts. So Broke-Loader, get your stuff together. Broke-Loader! The other nice thing is you can just open this up and let it sit there. Bring your bullet up to where you want it, and then clamp it, all right? And then, oof. Oh my God. That was in there good. Okay, I'm going to show you that anyway because I didn't do it good enough. This has a Mega Death crimp on it. This was an experiment how to show how you can screw up and do a bad crimp on an RCBS die from a previous video which I never put out. So this has a death crimp on it. I'm going to have to crimp it a little. I'm going to have to grab it a little bit better. But the great thing about using these is you can just lay it on there and you can find your spot without touching your brass. So this time I'm going to go right about here, and this time I'm going to squeeze it good. And this has a death crimp on it. That thing was crimped really good. So I'll show you the worst case scenario. But of course, you're going to have to melt that bullet down again. And I should have grabbed it a little better in the first place. So there's revenge for Broke-Loader. He's laughing his ass off right now. All right. And also, this was a bum piece of brass. It was a scrap piece I used. But I was trying to emulate a bad crimp where it starts going square instead of rolling over. I never did that video. All right, so if you got bullets to pull and you don't want to use a kinetic puller and don't care about the bullets because they're probably going to be messed up and squeezed and anyway, so you just use the prairie dog. And Broke-Loader named this the prairie dog. He came up with the name because the prairie dog comes up and down from his hole. And I thought that was brilliant. So Broke-Loader named this puller, and I think that was awesome. Anyway, just get a coupler, take a rasp, and just take the middle out to fit your casting so you're not all wobbly here. And then I do like these because they'll just sit there while you bring the bullet up, and you're not trying to grab it at the end. And that was all trial and error, and somebody helped me out. Maybe it was Andy or somebody told me to use one of these, and it works great, and they were $1 at a thrift store. So, all right. Okay, so while I was dinking with the prairie dog, these are dry now, 2 coats in the sun. It only took a few minutes. Lacquer dries very fast. You could probably load it right now. I'm just going to make sure and let it gas off overnight. But this is what they look like now. And there is no overspray on the sides of the bullet. Okay. So it's just the base, and we'll see how that works. I think lacquer's going to be fine. A lot of brass is sprayed with lacquer. Russian ammo, 5.7 round, and I don't think it's going to burn off just shooting it. And I think this could be a winner because of the properties of lacquer. So a lot of my tests are 50-50. You guys know that. There's a lot of fails. Maybe this is going to be a fail, maybe not. We'll see. So I'll see you in a month on this one, and we'll go all the way to 5 months, loaded upside down with the powder against the base of the bullet, and we'll see if we protected the PPP, the Powder Coat Protection Plan against all powders. Until next time, thanks for watching.